Once you realize what's going on, we go, oh my God, we are so bloody dumb. This is not normal kind of stuff going on here, people. The earth splitter, Enki there established, therewith in the earth a gash to make, by ways of tunnels earth's innards to reach, the golden veins to uncover. And this is really important. This magnetron may in fact be what they refer to as the earth splitter that Enki established with, to use the energy or the laser beam or the Saser technology. And look at that modern picture of modern magnetron, on the left ancient magnetron, and here's the Sumerian seal showing us Enki with the magnetrons all around him. And you'll see that these magnetrons keep featuring in Sumerian texts and Sumerian images. The stone circles were not the only ancient energy generating devices. It gets far more interesting and exciting. Obviously all this ancient stuff is made out of rock, which is quartz, quartzite, which is silica dioxide. Quartz has memory, it conducts light and sound. This is all advanced technology. We know that you can store data in crystals and water as well. Silica and oxygen and hydrogen, water and quartz, very important. Also in the formation of planets and solar systems, those two are the primary components. Stone structures are basically like giant memory banks, Stone Age Silicon Valley. And we now know that all these ancient sites are just giant machines. All these ancient structures were just giant machines built to generate energy. Stonehenge, very obvious energy device. And then these ancient sites in Egypt are just technology on a gigantic scale. The obelisk rings like a bell and you realize it's an antenna. When you start looking at these structures in Egypt, you realize too many pillars, not enough space. This is not for praying and offering food and going to pray to the gods and all that nonsense. This is all just giant technology. There you've got a beautiful amplification chamber with ringing pillars in front of it on a pedestal, and you realize that these are just templates for giant circuit boards, and these guys are just building these energy devices on a scale that we can't do today because we don't have enough money and we have no idea how to do it. Borobudur, Indonesia, just amplifying sound frequencies, shooting it up into the sky with a central beam at the top. And this all takes us to Saser technology. Saser technology that was only introduced to humanity in 2009, as opposed to laser beams. Saser beams, infinitely more powerful. But it seems that human sound was used to amplify and start these circuit boards. Even the Parthenon in Greece, that was an ancient circuit board. It's really badly destroyed. There's another amphitheater connected to a circuit board on top of the mountain there. You can see it badly destroyed. Here's another one in North Africa, in Algeria. Here the circuit board the amphitheater is right in the heart of the ancient circuit board. And this doesn't stop there. The secret sound activation continues in medieval times and continues in modern times. Temples have just become churches. And you will see the importance of the structures of these churches with the conical towers, the cone-shaped tools that focus the sound into Saser beams. This stuff is just so brilliant. Our sound is being harvested as energy. It's that simple. Anytime you build a circle, pyramids, obelisks, or domes and cathedral towers, these are all harvesting devices for amplifying and harvesting sound and focusing sound. And this is why all cathedrals, all major churches, all major castles around the world are always built on very powerful energy lines, ley lines, very energetic places around the world. Every time there's a Catholic church cathedral, it's always on a very strategic point. And this is why the mystery of the medieval cathedrals is such an important thing to crack. Architects today just marvel at how these guys built it. With the tools they had in the year 1000 or whenever it was 10 something, when they built these in the 10th, 11th, 12th centuries, we couldn't build it today. Have a look at the inside. It's so obvious what's going on here. Giant acoustic chamber with a dome on top of it, with vibrating pillars from the resonance of the people clapping their hands or the fear or shouting or singing, whatever they were doing, going up these pillars into the dome. And what's on top of the dome outside of the cathedral are these spires that send the frequencies up into the sky. And you realize that they're also using this shape of light that amplifies the acoustic effect inside the chamber. Can you see the shape of these windows? Circular, very important, not square, circular or oval, etc. And we start seeing very obvious magnetron-shaped windows. Light and sound are inextricably connected. If you send light through a magnetron shape, it will create a magnetron effect. The shape of the window will take the frequency of the light and amplify it because it's in the shape of a magnetron. It's unbelievable. This is Notre Dame. It's like laser transfer. You can take the information of an egg from a salamander or a lizard, you put a laser beam through a fertilized lizard egg, and you point the laser at the infertile frog egg, and the frog will become a lizard. The light takes the information and deposits it from one to the other. That's what happens. The light comes in through the window, takes the information of the light and amplifies it inside the chamber. This is just spectacular. Magnetron-shaped windows in cathedrals is suddenly a dead giveaway that this is very, very advanced technology that we're only waking up to now. This is a woman by the name of Annie in Sweden and took this picture of a church. Look at that beautiful torus. Look at the energy coming out of that, creating a torus effect. And we suddenly realize that city grids in cities, they circuit boards generating huge amounts of sound. Human beings never stop making a noise. Cities are constantly noisy. We are sources of energy because we never stop freaking making a noise. When Morpheus holds up the battery in the Matrix and he says, "We are the source of energy," I finally understand what you mean. When the guys made the Matrix, they knew exactly what they were talking about. Wherever they got their information from is very, very interesting. And that brings me back to places like Bologna. These hundreds of towers that have now been destroyed. This is a very, very early picture of Bologna with many of the towers that have already been gone. But look at the early image, the drawing from 1700s of Bologna. There's a dome over the city. There's a wall and a dome over the city. What's going on here? They obviously knew this long before Nikola Tesla rediscovered this and figured it out when he built his tower, to basically amplify the frequency of the earth and try and give the world free electricity, which he nearly succeeded. What was this energy used for? And this is where it gets really interesting. Magnetism control heat and sound. Yet before now, nobody ever imagined that sound waves might also have magnetic properties. Surely you should know that every speaker in your car and your hi-fi system works on this principle. Sound and magnets are inextricably connected. It works both ways. Sound creates magnetic fields and magnetic fields create sound. It's just insane. Ancient civilizations knew this. They understood this very clearly, and they used sound and frequency as a source of energy. Sound and frequency is used to control and manipulate humanity, taking control of humans through cone-shaped tools, removing our ESP, controlling our pineal gland, the primary little organ, what do you call it, in our body, right? Removing it so that if you have ESP, you don't need to speak. I can hear your mind, I can hear you think, I can feel your pain. So if we are connected with ESP, it's more than just we able to communicate. I can't hurt you, because if I'm hurting you, I feel your pain, because it's a frequency. So no one can hurt anybody else. No one can lie, no one can cheat, no one can hurt anyone, because then everybody feels the pain. It's a collective consciousness. This is why they went to such extreme trouble to destroy our pineal gland and our capacity to communicate, and use the pineal gland as this ESP master organ. It's unbelievable. Controlling our pineal gland and the DNA, tree of life. This is what these guys were doing, whoever these guys were, most likely the Anunnaki or some other beings. And by now, you would have seen that the all-seeing eye of Horus is most likely that central part of our brain that controls the pineal gland and all the other important parts in the center of our brain. Look at this guy's watch. Once again, we come to the pine cone, the cone-shaped tool, the magnetron watch, and this cone that goes into the magnetron. Same thing. And nothing has changed. Today they control our minds, control us through media, television, radio, Wi-Fi. Everything is magnetic. Everything is sound and magnetism. Magnetic fields create torus shapes, and you see this beautifully. This is what a perfectly balanced toroidal magnetic field looks like. Perfectly balanced from the top and from below. It spins one way from the top and the same way from the bottom. It's not positive and negative. We've misinterpreted it as positive and negative. It's the same spin in opposite directions that create that perfect balance. And what happens at the center, this line here, is known as the accretion disk. That's where the energies meet and they move in opposite directions, creating the energy. Most likely the friction that is part of creating the energy of the magnetic field, a perfectly balanced magnetic field. There you can see a balanced, complete magnetic torus with its accretion disk at the center, emits energy as matter in a disk. This is really important because when we're studying solar systems and the galaxy, we see solar disks. And we see the study of solar disks are very well defined. It goes on and on and on, and how solar disks are formed. The most detailed image ever of a young star is protoplanetary disk. We read this all over the place. And now they're talking about silica and water in protoplanetary disks that are moving in opposite directions, creating spin in opposite directions. This is fantastic, people. Unbelievable. Galactic toruses. Solar systems are toruses, galaxies are toruses. We read about galactic disks, thousands of images of galactic disks floating around in space. Here's an accretion disk of a so-called galaxy or black hole that they just recently found. Dynamics of galactic disks. This is what when you start studying this stuff, it's all about toruses and the galactic disks, the accretion disks. And we are told the magnetic fields are created by the molten core, some molten iron at the center of the core. That's another lie, because it seems that the sound of the earth actually creates the magnetic field. It's the sound of the earth. We know that the earth rings like a bell, never stops. It's not the molten core. It's just a lie. But this is a bit of a problem, because with the earth's magnetic model, we seem to have half a magnet floating around in space. You've seen from the galactic disk, the solar disks, all of them are perfectly balanced toroidal fields. Everything manifests in toroidal fields, from subatomic particles to sound to light, everything. We've seen solar systems as toroidal fields. We see galaxies as toroidal fields. How can the Earth be the exception to the rule? When we look at magnetic toruses visible under a ferrocell lens, we see the beautiful lines of magnetic fields. Suddenly they become visible. And when you bring a magnetic effect, when you bring a magnet into a ferrofluid, you see these little cones that just come up out of everywhere. And you see the effect of nature, sound and magnetism on nature. And then speaker magnets under ferrocell lens, what do you see? Tiny little cones facing the center. What does that remind you of? Of that dude's wristwatch. And we start seeing a very important connection here of sound, magnets, and the technology that these guys used. So it seems that everything is just a vibration and frequency until we look at it and observe it. And then it takes on this particle substance. It becomes matter. It becomes physical for us to see. It seems like our consciousness and the observation actually converts the resonance around us into physical manifestation of particles.